Anyway, all this stuff has been about what you can't do. So Creative Commons is about what you can do. So I was talking to Michael the other day. We were having a big conversation about how important Creative Commons is, not only as a way of enabling you to actually do things that you want to do, but also a way of teaching kids about copyright. Like kids, it's so much easier to teach them about it and help them learn about it if you're saying to them, this is how you can do this, rather than saying, this is what you can't do. Because, I mean, it's kind of pointless for you guys as multimedia teachers to just be telling them, actually, no, you can't have music behind your video. I mean, you know, what's the point in that? And that kind of thing. And that's where Creative Commons comes in, and that's why you have a whole hour devoted to it in your course. Creative Commons is essentially a copyright licensing system that aims to create a pool of material that can be reused legally. Nice and simple. So it's just a whole pile of licenses. You put them on your material, and you give and that gives people permission in advance to use the material. So you guys do have permission to actually. So you guys are told in advance that you can make certain uses. You don't have to go and ask them. Under copyright law, you can always do anything as long as you have permission of the copyright owner. But normally you'd have to write to them. Normally you'd have to write to, you know, Delta Goodrem and say, can I, you know, put your song in my video? And, you know, you've got to ask yourself how likely it is that you're going to get a response in a lot of these cases. A lot of the cases you will. So Flickr, for instance, if you want a photo from Flickr and it's normally an ordinary person, they'll often respond. But the great thing about Creative Commons is you don't have to ask because you've already been given permission. So what Creative Commons aims to do, and all of these permissions are always broader than standard copyright. Default copyright is you can't do anything, practically. Except for you guys in the classroom. Almost everything else copyright says is you can't copy it, you can't email it, you can't communicate it, you can't put it on a website. Pretty much it's very, very strict. And then you've got your public domain. We've all heard of that. Like that's, you know, Shakespeare is in the public domain. You can do whatever you want with Shakespeare because he died so long ago. Copyright doesn't last forever, but it does last for the life of the author plus 70 years. So let's say it lasts about 150 to 200 years. So anything made in the last 200 years, such as a video, is likely to be in copyright. Not definitely, it's actually the law keeps changing on that, so it's very complex to work out if things aren't in copyright, but it's likely to be in copyright and stuff like that. So on one end you've got your full copyright where you're not allowed to do anything. On the other end you've got your public domain where you can do absolutely anything you want with it. And Creative Commons, as you can see from our lovely little slider there, aims to fill the gap in between. Just create a whole lot of different, you know, gradations so that the creators, the people who are making the material, can say, I actually want people to be able to email this to their friends because, you know, that's good for me. I have no fans and I want to have fans, therefore let's let them email it to their friends, you know, and that kind of thing. And it's everything from just very simple, I'll let people email it to each other, all the way up to you can do anything with this as long as you attribute me. Really, really broad, really exciting stuff happens under that. But rather than talking to you too much about Creative Commons, I'm going to show you an exciting video, just to break it up. And this is, well, first of all, questions, because I should have stopped after all the copyright stuff before I moved into Creative Commons. Yeah?
Say if you got copyright or something, and then you die and 75 years goes, can it get re-copyrighted after?
No, it cannot. Okay. There's different types of intellectual property protection. So there's trademarks and business names and things like that, patents, and some of them can be renewed later, but copyright can't. So as long as you know that the author, the person who owned the work originally, died more than 70 years ago, you are completely fine. So Alice in Wonderland, public domain, that kind of thing. So you're lucky. That's nice and easy with copyright.
Say with, you know how some kids use like a video for a school project, like an assignment, and then they put it onto YouTube like later.
Yeah.
Do you have to do anything with those students to say, like, do you have to get them to sign anything before they start an assignment saying you can't use this anywhere else?
No. I mean, I would basically, you know, just wash my hands of it, i.e. pretend that you don't know that I mean, that sounds terrible. I'm being put on video saying that. But yeah, pretty much as long as the school itself, you know, isn't involved in the putting it up, and doesn't, you know, encourage the kids or endorse it, and makes it clear to them that they might be in trouble if they put it up. So make sure that they know that, you know, if they've got a Britney Spears song, it could be a problem. Then, yeah, I don't think I would be encouraging you to try to control their usage of their material down the track, because they do own one of the other good things about copyright is that kids will always own copyright in their own material, even if they're doing it for a school assignment. It's a good and a bad thing. It makes it more complex for you guys to reuse stuff later, but it also means that the kids own their own stuff, so that's good.
Say on the song note again, say you want to use a song in like an assignment for a music video.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you got, like, I don't know, students do like a cover of the song and put it on? Is that still...
Yep, it's still, because in order to do covers, you basically need permission if you're going to record them. If you're going to play them in a pub, then the pub already has a license that lets you play covers. So we can all sing karaoke in our favourite pubs, but you know, if you're recording it, you have to have a license, basically, unfortunately. Because copyright covers absolutely everything from the music, the written score, the lyrics, the sound recording. All these things are separately protected. So technically you need permission from the copyright owners of all of these things to use something. Normally, if it's a commercial song, a big record company will have got all those, you know, will have already bought all those permissions from everybody, and you'll just be able to get the permission from the record company. But you know, if it's an indie or something like that, there's real potential there'll be, like, you know, 5, 6, a dozen, hundreds of people who own copyright in something. You need all of their permission before you can use it.
The question came up last week, Jessica, about films.
Mm-hmm.
And who owns the copyright on films? If it's a corporation who has basically made the film,
Mm-hmm.
is it the director who has the copyright? Does everyone have their own piece of the copyright? How does that work?
The copyright for films comes from, films has its own rules, and the copyright goes to the person responsible for making the arrangements for the film, which pretty much normally means the producer. So normally the producer, which will normally be a company, owns it. But directors are given moral rights, which moral rights is this thing that sits alongside copyright, which basically is, if you create something, you always will have some moral rights in it. Copyright is like the economic rights that you might, you know, pay somebody for, like, so, you know, reproduction, publication, those kind of things. While moral rights is things like, you have to attribute me as the author. You can't make a derogatory treatment of my work. You know, you have to, you know, respect my, you know, rights as an author. And those go to the director. So the producer and the director both have moral rights. The producer will normally own the copyright, and if the group that owns the copyright and the copyright for films actually only lasts for 7 years from first publication. So the life of the author doesn't come into it. So they're much shorter period, except that the script in the film and the music in the film and any artworks in the film are still protected for the life of the author plus 70. So you have to know when the script writer died as well. So that makes things very complicated. Films are basically the hardest copyright thing because they're like onions. There's a million layers of them, and they're all going to be covered by copyright.
But so in the case though of a film that, you know, it's going to start to occur in, I don't know, I can't do my maths, but in another 50 years or whatever, many very classic films are going to start to come out of copyright. So,
some classic films already are out of copyright.
Right. So in those cases, they're in the public domain then?
Yeah. And you can do whatever you want with them. But you do have to wait till they go in the public domain, or else get Creative Commons licensed, or else do it underneath the rights that we were talking about. There are fair dealing rights and fair use rights in the US, and they're fair dealing in Australia that lets normal people do some things with stuff, but they're pretty narrow, and they're not built for the internet. So most of the time they wouldn't extend to putting something up online. The one that probably, it's a new one and we're all thinking it might actually, is parody. There's a new fair dealing one for exception for parody, and we think that it will actually cover a lot of what people are doing on YouTube, but only if you're making fun of something. It won't cover it if you're being serious. So you're allowed to be, you know, humorous, but you're not allowed to make a you know, serious artistic work. So there you go. Any other questions? Okay, then we will go on to the exciting video. Now this video is, you know, one of the ones that we do that we made basically for younger kids. So, you know, sort of under the age of, you know, well, kids anyway. So it's maybe a little bit simple for you guys, and that is not me insulting your your intelligence. That's just that I thought, I think it's actually the best one that we've got, and B, it's the kind of material you guys might want to use in your own classroom to help kids understand how they can use copyright materials legally. There you go.